Hey everybody, this is To the Sea that my wife Hollie and I wrote as Mint Julep in 2010 for the album Save Your Season. And this one's interesting because we originally started it off as a pitch for a commercial, for a car commercial. And so Hollie and I had written some music before, but this song really started off the rest of the songs on the album. The original spot that we made the song for was only 30 seconds. So we had the verse and a lot of what you hear in the song as it is for the first verse and the first chorus. But after that, we added a lot of things for the rest of the song just to do for the album to make it a full-length song. We didn't actually end up getting the ad, but it kind of sparked a lot of creativity and ideas. So it was the start of something else. So this song starts off with a little bass line. And this is not the original session. These are just the stems. I had written this back in Cool Edit Pro back in the day, and I don't have that original session. But I'll kind of walk you through how we treated the sounds and how we got all this stuff, sans plugins. So this was a synth called Silent that's still around. It's a soft synth, but ran it through Guitar Rig, put a lot of spring reverb, distortion, amp sounds, just to make it dirty and not sound like a soft synth. Really compressed it a lot. In Cool Edit, there was a way to compress one side of the waveform and not the other. And I always found that was a cool way to make a track sound a little bit wider and have this interesting quality to it that's not typical of what you would hear otherwise. So it's really compressing those lower notes. And then there's a few drum parts throughout the song. There's acoustic drum mixed with electric drums. This is the main layer. Just a simple 808 thing with lots of spring reverb and distortion. And then there's a acoustic drum set. I kept the tuning really open. I think I only put one mic on the drums for this one. So those are the two drums for this layer. There's another bass here. It's my Hofner bass. Super compressed. Playing fifths to go along with this bass line. And as this synth bass goes on, you'll hear this other layer come in. Kind of a higher layer with a lot of reverb and whatnot. There's a few ambient bits and bobs spliced throughout the track here, just to give it a bit of space and kind of an eerie feeling, I guess. So Hollie came up with these vocals. I think originally it was a vague storyline. We just wanted to kind of evoke some sort of a mood.
We fly away, go all the way to the sun, to the sun.
So they're double tracked And then there's a third layer this was all bounced down to one stereo track, but originally there were 3 layers, 2 stereo tracks, and then one that was like a reversed reverb.
We can drive to the sea and be free.
I was listening to a lot of Ulrich Schnauz at the time, and he did a lot of that on the music that he was making during the time, so I kind of stole that from him. Thanks, Ulrich.
We fly away, go on.
And that leads into the chorus. Got some more ambient layers. Kind of this cheap sounding piano. Again, this is some silence patch that I ran through Guitar Rig. Lots of reverb, very heavily compressed distortion. Hollie's got some more layers going on here. I think there's probably 4 layers. A little bit of stereo separation, but it's kind of right down the middle. Lots of spring reverb again on everything on this track, it seems. And there's a dry take here. That's really dirty and heavily compressed. But I think that just having that dry track makes it stand out just a little bit more. Like if we take that out. Just makes it a little bit crisper. There's a new drum layer here. Just 2 mics on the drums, panned hard left, hard right. Some claps, spring reverb. Verse 2 is a lot like verse 1 structurally, and then we have this synth that creates a bit of motion. There's 2 layers there. Some oohs and ahs. I think those were originally just something that she improvised or whatever, but I thought it was kind of cool to put in there. It sounded very ethereal. It's sort of a mini chorus without any build. So it's sort of a breakdown, but it doesn't go into the second half of the chorus. So this is sort of like a verse 3 or a bridge. It's the same verse melody, but instead of doing the same chord changes and structure as the other verses, I reharmonized everything, so it's basically like a new section, but with the same vocal melody as the verses. Got some distorted guitar here, some more rocking guitar. It's like early 90s octave heavy guitar. And you'll hear like in flub getting into there. But I'm a fan of one takes, so if it sits well in the mix and it doesn't sound wrong, then it's right to me. Another bass layer, just doing lower bass to go along with the synth bass. There's some really heavy bass. Just completely compressed and smashed. And pitched up an octave, so it kind of has these artifacts and whatnot. More spacey ambient pads. This little whirly thing doing a high layer. There's some more drums kind of. There's various stuff going on there. Same drums. Just a little pre-chorus to get you back into the chorus. It's like a Philip Glass arpeggio thing that's I think that was just some cheap general MIDI sound that I had an arpeggiator over. Threw it in guitar rig and made it sound very dirty and spring reverby again. Some lower pads. Synth bass from the first part comes in again just as a nod to the motif in the beginning. And then that's it, really. We didn't want to create too much of like we didn't want the song to sound very epic or very polished, so a lot of these are first takes, and we just kind of wrote it very quickly. We did the original song that way too for the ad. I think we wrote it in just an hour or two, the 30 seconds, and then the rest of the song was probably another day or two after that to write and record. But it all came together really quickly, and I think Hollie and I really like this one. As sometimes these songs, they come together super quick, and sometimes you spend, a couple of months or a year or whatever. But this one really kind of seemed to click, and I think we wrote it before our minds had a time to dissect everything and second guess, so sometimes that's the best case, when you just kind of outrun your critical mind. So yeah, that's the song To the Sea. Hope that gives you some insight into how it was made, and thanks for listening.